And welcome everyone to another channeling with Starseed Lø Lø. And I will turn it over to her to share what's going to happen today.
Hi everyone, I'm Starseed Lø Lø, also known as Laura Ferguson, author. And what we're going to do is a 30-minute channeling session. So I'm going to get here in the hypnosis kind of state, do a little short sound healing, and we'll see who comes through. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Give me just a second here. All right. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. The Lyrians are here. Blue Lyrians from the Vega star system are ready when you are.
We welcome them and we are ready.
We would like to say that we love humanity. Humanity is a part of us, and we are a part of you. We know that you have your holidays celebration, and we recognize that times might be more stressful this time of year. There are a lot of expectations to buy gifts, do financial things such as that, maybe expectations to see people, speak to people you might not necessarily want to. How do you deal with this stress? Is this some topic that you're interested in?
I always welcome information.
We do have similar celebrations within our communities, and we know the importance of community. Sometimes this can be lost in translation in the quote-unquote digital world. And energetically, we are all connected in the here and now. And quantum entanglement, there is no distance. However, in physicality, it seems that some people get the what they call holiday blues because they are alone. We just want you to know that you really are not alone. And when you have these thoughts, we hear them. And we are telepathic. We are the universe. And we are energy, such as yourself. If you ask us for help, we do send good vibes, good energy, and unconditional love.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. She needs to turn down her phone. Okay. Do you have any questions for us about the new year or anything else?
I do have a question for you, and it's not related per se to the new year, but this time period we're in right now, and that is, what advice do you have for those listening for dealing with the incoming solar flares and all the energy that's going through the planet right now?
Those CMEs are a natural part of the life cycle of Gaia, which you are all a part of. Not only that, the frequencies are shifting very, very, very quickly. And as the frequencies get higher, as they are, it does take the human body some lag time to catch up. In the meantime, They can practice mindfulness. There are a lot of people that do not practice mindfulness and awareness exercises. Some of these, if not a lot of these things, are free to do other than just spending the time doing them, such as a short meditation at the beginning and end of each day, affirmations, speaking them out loud because thoughts manifest, taking an introspective look at your beliefs to flip the script from negative to positive or neutral to neutral positive beliefs, reaching out to a loved one or a friend, listening to others, connecting with others how you can, overall mind-body health to include eating healthy, putting healthy items mentally in your mind experience. It really does matter what you watch or listen to before you go to bed. That is why kids, quote unquote, have bad dreams or nightmares if they watch a scary movie. For example, this one, she no longer watches the mainstream news. She has a lot of compassion and empathy for others. Therefore, if she hears what she construes or defines as bad news and hears of another bombing or another killing or another piece of war or another famine, etc., this affects her auric field. Does this make sense?
It does, and I do the same thing actually. So, thank you. And another question I have for you is, what advice do you have to people beyond like being aware of what you're watching before you go to sleep to keep you out of the fear mindset?
That is exactly what we were going to start talking about. Fear mongering. It doesn't matter if the fear mongering comes from social media, if it comes from your next door neighbor, if it comes from your own beliefs from within, because everything is a reflection of you. If you are seeing fear mongering everywhere, that is because that is what the feedback loop that you're giving to the universe. If you have a feeling or a thought, or even an addiction to fear mongering, let's just say podcasts or shows or shorts or videos or Netflix streaming, that kind of thing, then the universe will give you back that feedback loop and keep on giving it back to you. If that's what you're thinking and feeling and that's what you want, then that's what you're going to receive more of. Does that make sense?
It does.
Fear mongering is and can be very altering to this human psyche in more ways than one. And you are what you think, you are what you eat, you are what you say. If you would like to be in this frequency of feeling healthy to include mind-body coherence, you need to act as such. Watching or listening to fear-mongering is not conducive to this environment and frequency.
I agree. Thank you.
You're welcome.
There are talks right now of people seeing 2 moons and 2 suns here on our planet. Is this a reality of the shit that's going on, or are we moving into a world that's going to have 2 moons and 2 suns?
That is an alternate reality. There is a Proxima A and B star system, and a lot of star systems are binary star systems. The one that the humans are speaking of are a parallel reality where there is many versions of Gaia, this version of Gaia, but parallel with 2 suns. There were also Tiamat and the sun prior to the Great Flood destruction roughly 11,500 years ago.
With Tiamat being now our asteroid belt, as people say, does that affect the return of other beings coming here, or is that just a thing that happened and like a warning to us of what could happen here?
That was a big shift in consciousness. What you call reptilians came through a portal. And a space war ensued. This immediately affected Tiamat, Mars, and Gaia. And then the moon that you know of now was put in place.
So, what is the draw for humans right now? Bless you. To be drawn to Mars. What's the connection?
Sorry, she dropped a tuning fork. The SSP has bases there. And the humans are feeling that energy. A lot of these humans additionally have lives, parallel lives there, as either the tall grays, tall whites, aninsectoids, mantis insectoids, blue avian birds, blue Lyrian cat beings, such as ourselves. And a lot of those are the same implants and soul families from the planet Maldek, which was destroyed prior to Mars in a parallel reality. Since there are no time or timelines, we are just using that as a description. And a lot of those same soul families and the same oversouls are here and also have recall of Atlantis and Tiamat and Mars and Maldek because it's all connected.
Thank you. And as you mentioned, the SSP being operating on Mars, are you partaking in the assistance of waking up the people who are in the SSP and why they're all coming forward right now?
Yes. Sometimes we work in their programs with many other extraterrestrial and terrestrial races. And remember, there's inner Earth as well. And we do work with the SSP. And there's several programs that include what you would call bioclones and sentient AIs.
Okay, and you mentioned inner Earth. Why do you think, if you can understand terrestrial terms, we do not explore our oceans anymore?
So you've been told. The SSP has bases in the oceans, which includes under Antarctica as well.
And so there are people here who speculate Antarctica and the moon are connected through the SSP and through other programs. Can you confirm that, or do you have knowledge of that?
Yes, they have jump portal rooms. They do not have the technology in this version of Gaia to actually fly as quick as they say 238,000 miles to the lunar moon. Therefore, they have been and are using jump portal rooms, much like the collider that you have.
Okay, that makes sense, and thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
I want to take a moment with the holidays and everything coming up and just see, do you have a message for Laura?
Keep on doing what you're doing, which includes channeling to assist in awakening the masses and getting the information out into the ether. If one person listens, they were meant to listen. And don't give up.
Thank you. And do you have any advice or messages for myself?
Keep doing what you're doing. We have already seen your energy grow and grow and grow. And this is not just because you have some very exclusive guests this week, whom we love very much. This is because you yourself is creating this beautiful reflection of the growth.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You mentioned that you have celebrations where you are for seasons and everything. Can you share some of what that's like, how similar or different they are from ours?
Yes, we do not have religion per se, because we know we are all of source. However, we do have monthly celebrations and get together in what we call sections or villages, and everybody has an equal say, much like a council, and nobody is higher or quote unquote lower than anybody else. Anybody is welcome to come. There is food for all because we use replicator devices that make us unlimited amounts of what we would like to replicate. And it's more of a communal celebration that is optional.
That sounds lovely. And I feel remiss if I wouldn't ask, with this golden opportunity, we have a thing here on this planet where we call transitioning, where we leave one form to another form in another place. Do you have something similar to that, or how do you handle or view that aspect?
Much like a jump room or jump portal, we also use pods, just like in your movie, this Avatar, because we are all avatars having an experience, whether it's as a human or Illyrian, parallel lives, all at once, reflection of the source. So to be more specific, we do have physicality and we do have options, much like a total recall experience, to go into a pod in any reality experience that we wish as well.
Fascinating. And do you have a thought or viewpoint of like what we call the afterlife, which is the beginning of a new journey?
That is just your perspective point within that moment. Remember the Schrodinger's cat experience. The particles and the particle waves are all part of each other. It just depends on the viewpoint of it. Just like the cat is alive and dead at the same time in the box, so are you.
Interesting. I know I'm asking kind of a prediction type question. I'm just curious with your knowledge of and not bound by our time frame, so to speak. Where do you see us going in the next year as a humanity?
To a better place. as starseeds such as yourself, Laura, and several others whom you feature on your podcast and off the podcast who are yet to be on it and who don't do podcasts, there is a strength in numbers. Therefore, as the awakenings are happening and spreading more, things are only going to get, in your language, better.
Well, thank you. That is some hope that I hope a lot of people hear and probably need right now.
You're welcome.
Is there anything we can do for you?
Not that we can think of. However, we do eat synthetic meat, if you'd like to hear about that.
That sounds interesting because we're dealing with that here, I think, or starting to.
Yes, you're heading in that direction. However, the food science in Gaia at the current time in this reality is not as advanced. When we said synthetic meat, we're not talking about a Beyond Burger or a GMO Impossible Burger. We're talking about something that gives every macro and micronutrient that your body needs as a whole functional food. Since we are cat beings, we do have that need. However, it's an advanced form of nutrition that is all-encompassing of all food groups, all amino acids, all proteins, all lipids. And this is the same direction that your version of Gaia is heading in the next 10 to 20 years, where it will be easier to replicate and access food.
Do you think within the next year or two, mankind will be ready to join the galactics and be in space operational, or we still have some growth to do?
There's still a little bit of growth in the masses to be done. That is why we are seeing the 2030s at this time, although energy does shift very quickly. So in the next 4 years, the frequencies will be even higher and the masses will be, quote unquote, more awakened and more ready for physical contact.
And so I know parts of the SSP are making hybrids for races to interact here on the planet to be like a bridge between. Are you and your people involved in such projects, or do you have a different way where you're going to introduce yourselves?
Not directly, because by default, Solarians are already humanoid cat beings and hybrids. That is more a program of the Greys with support from other extraterrestrial races, such as the mantis beings, tall Greys, the short Greys.
So we have about 6 minutes left. Do you have a message that we haven't covered that you'd like to share for mass consciousness?
Yes, the lunar moon. The lunar moon, statistically and mathematically, is almost impossible, if not impossible, to exist. Laura here did statistics for a living, and when she read the stats after hearing about 15 years ago, I believe, on Ancient Aliens, she heard that not only was the moon 400 times smaller than the sun, it's exactly 400 times away from the sun to create the only eclipse in our whole solar system. Statistically, this is almost impossible to have both. Additionally, the moon is almost perfectly round within a radius of 4 miles or so. It is almost perfectly round at that point. Any natural or organic body of a moon or a planet, rocky or otherwise, is not as close to perfectly round as the moon. The realization of this are messages from the knowing that the moon was placed. Any questions?
Do we know who placed the moon and why?
Galarians, Arcturians, Greys, the list goes on. Why? To stabilize Gaia after the destruction. It stabilizes the oceans and many more functions of Gaia, or complex life would not be sustained.
So the moon was placed by benevolence, but then taken over by what we call the dark elements.
Just because it's called the dark side of the moon doesn't mean it's dark energetically. There are joint bases that are a part of the moon, and there has been joint ET races that stop over there, almost like a gas station when you're taking a trip.
Do you see us ever being able to see and communicate with the dark side of the moon?
You mean pictures of the buildings and the structures and access to it, just as you would wish to with Mars?
Yes, the disclosure of it, what's actually there.
At this time, we see 2050 on that timeline. That is just in this moment and can change. After the physical disclosure in the 2030s and beyond, a lot of people will start asking more questions about Mars and our moon, such as how come we had the Apollo missions and didn't really go back too much after that? And how can we actually use rocket fuel to get there in 6 months in the late 60s when our cell phones have way more power than anything of that type back then as it does now, computer-wise and data-wise? A lot more people, not just the skeptics or the conspiracy theorists, the masses will start asking these questions more when the physical contacts are being made. This will take time, of course, because the integration has to happen first.
Thank you, and thank you for spending this time with us and sharing your wisdom with us.
Happy to do so.
And now we'll just ask if Laura can return.
Wow.
Well, thank you, and thank you for doing this on my show. And for all of you watching, we will be returning in 2 weeks, and we are currently looking at doing this every other week. So stay tuned and follow along for more channeling sessions.
Yeah, it was good to hear from them, and thank you for having me back on, Michael.
Yes, thank you for coming on, and thank you for sharing your gifts with us, and we look forward to the next one.
Same.
Okay. Blessed afternoon, everyone.